It's gonna help me a lot. First, it starts in the film room. Study guys. That's where it all starts at first. Then translate to the field. A guy like Pat Mahomes, that's a different type of quarterback, man. He'll look this way, but he'll throw the ball to someone else. That's very different. And now in these days, but just study film. Practice make better. And it's a blessing to have a quarterback like that.
If that doesn't make you smile, I think there's something wrong with you. Just something cool, guys, about guys reaching their dreams and then seeing it happen. Those moments never get old. That was the moment the Chiefs' fourth-round pick, Sneed from Louisiana Tech, found out that he was going to the NFL. Welcome back to our live stream of the 2020 virtual NFL draft as we finish up day 3. Guys, a couple of defensive players picked up for the Chiefs. I'm B.J. Kissel along with Matt McMullen, voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, and NFL veteran Shawn Barber. Guys, how are we doing? How do we feel about today so far?
Well, I'm excited. Everybody wanted to add defense, and they added defense. Sneed is interesting when you look at his measurables of 4.37 40. So he fits in with Willie Gay Jr. The fact that you got a super fast defensive player and a 41-inch vertical, that's kind of in the range of Juan Thornhill. So highly productive at Louisiana Tech, made the shift from corner to safety his senior year or his last year.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna break all this down, guys. But I gotta get the sponsor read in here. This show is brought to you by Park University. In just a few weeks, we've changed how we work and how we play. Maybe now's a good time to change the way you go to college with online classes at Park University. Park has been at the forefront of online education for 25 years. We meet with our students where they are. Summer terms begin June 8th. Apply now, and they will waive the application fee with code PARK2020. Learn more at park.edu. Park University is the official higher education partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Sorry, Matt, go ahead about Sneed.
I'm as excited about Sneed.
Pirates. This dude's a pirate. He's got 3 pick sixes in his career.
All right, Matt, what were you saying?
That's what I wanted to say. I'm just excited about this kid. We talk about athleticism, and Mitch is right. He's super fast and great measurables at the combine, but he was productive in college, and you want guys that made plays and that are around the ball. And this guy had 3 pick sixes, 8 interceptions during his college career. I watched one of them a couple years ago, leaps up in the air, makes a spin move on a defender, and finds the end zone. So these are the kind of guys we want on our defense.
Yeah, and a cornerback like this is definitely going to make plays. Being a bookend to another premier corner in Amir Robinson. Amir Robinson was a guy that got drafted a little bit earlier, but at the pro day, the pros were there to see both of them. And for this guy to go to the combine, like Mitch said, put up a number like 4.37. I mean, we're talking about an Olympic track team. We could do a 4x4 just on the Chiefs team and give that Jamaican 4x1 team a run for their money on that world record, man. We got speed. If the AFC West is one thing, it's the fastest division in football.
Yeah, Matt, as you said, those 8 interceptions, 3 of them returned for touchdowns, averaging 19.3 yards per interception return. The other impressive thing is this guy didn't come off the field a whole lot, played 91% of their defensive snaps, and he was a senior captain. And actually I had a chance when I saw where he was from, growing up in Minden, Louisiana. I actually spent some time in Minden. It's about 15, 20 miles from where Sharkhandrick West grew up, and I had a chance to go down there. So I texted Sharkhandrick, and he actually knows the kid. And this kid grew up playing against Devin White in high school in that small area up in northern Louisiana near Shreveport. And Sharkhandrick was actually competing against Sneed's brother back in high school. They were the same age. So there's a Chiefs connection there with some guys. But yeah, you guys mentioned this is an athletic kid. Played cornerback his first 3 years, played safety last year. It seems like, at least from what we've seen, we'll wait to hear from Brett Veach tomorrow, but it seems like most of the people in the NFL believe this kid is going to be a corner because of all the reasons you guys talk about with his athleticism. But we've got a graphic right here that just shows his versatility throughout his career and just his lineups. This is courtesy of the Pro Football Focus draft guide. You see right here, 354 snaps played at free safety, and then 138 snaps played in the box, and then 348 snaps played at that slot corner, that nickel cornerback position. So when you get into this time, we talked about it before, Mitch, when you get to day 3, you have medical and you have guys where you don't know quite where they fit. And so you got to think that there's a Dave Toub stamp of approval on a cornerback / safety at this point in the draft. But you get a guy who's 6 foot, around 200 pounds, that runs a 4.37. That's a good start for any kind of defensive back.
Well, here's what Spags will like. Here's what Tobe will like. Here's what Merritt will like. And here's what Madison will like. 177 tackles, only 11 missed tackles. This guy is a tackler in space, and that translates over to both special teams and to scrimmage downs. The other thing is, and we've talked about this the last 3 days, guys, you put a letter by a guy, so all of a sudden he got an S. He went to safety. Sneed played safety his last year. He gets an S. So all of a sudden, then we put him out of the corner range and put him with other safeties. And when he pops up, you're going, well, wait a minute, this guy's mostly played corner. So that's a mistake we can make in analysis is a letter doesn't mean this guy's game.
I think you're totally right, Mitch. And you think about what the Chiefs like to do on this defense, guys like how they used Kendall Fuller last year, moving him from corner to safety, and how the Honey Badger moves just about everywhere. You want guys that are interchangeable and that can play different positions and be a defensive back, not just be, like you said, just a safety or just a corner.
Yeah, and one of the things we faced as far as our opponents, when you put 4-3 speed at a wide receiver position, it puts so much pressure on safeties and corners to be able to open up the hips and run deep. Henry Ruggs is now in the division. The Broncos have got some speed with the young man out of Penn State. So there has to be somebody on the field that you can put man on man and have them cover a deep half, a deep third, a deep quarter, and be able to run with them step for step and not give up the deep ball over the top.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the 20 of the 22 starters returning for the Chiefs, but you think about a guy like Jordan Lucas, who's a reserve safety, played a lot of special teams. Those are also snaps in production and value that you've got to find a spot for. But right now, guys, as we break this down, let's go to one of our favorite pieces of content throughout the weekend, and this is the call. This is the moment that L'Jarius Sneed found out that he was going to be joining the defending world champ Kansas City Chiefs.
What up, man? What's up, baby? What's going on? What's up, baby?
Hey, man, congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Hey, man. Hey, I told you, man, when we talked, after we got off, man, you just got to trust the process.
Most definitely.
Just have faith, man, and it seems that's what you did, man. But I'm really happy and excited for you. Now the real work really begins, okay?
Most definitely, Coach.
Hey, L'Jarius.
Yes, sir.
This is Clark Hunt with the Chiefs. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. How about you?
Fantastic. Are you excited to be joining the Chiefs?
Man, most definitely. Super Bowl champs. Tyrann Matthews. The energy he brings. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it, dog. I'm ready for it, man. Ready to get to work.
We're excited to have you. Can't wait to get you into Kansas City.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
All right, did L'Jarius meet everybody?
How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. All is well. Blessed.
I bet you are, man. Doggone it. We're glad to have you.
L'Jarius, welcome to the kingdom. Glad to have you, man.
Thank you, boss. Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
L'Jarius, welcome, brother.
Thank you, boss. Thank you, man.
Good to see you again, L'Jarius.
Yes, sir. Nice seeing you too, man.
Happy to have you.
You are these guys' number one guys, so, man, welcome aboard.
Thank you, dog. Thank you.
Really, we're going to play you.
It's fine with me.
We got you out there. You play everywhere, so it doesn't matter.
It's fine with me, man.
Need that 4-3 speed.
Yes, sir.
L'Jarius, great to meet you, and we got to get started on defending that Super Bowl title. Glad to have you with us.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
Those videos never get old. Always enjoy seeing that. And again, we've been talking about it all weekend. Just one of those cool access points you get in this virtual draft. You got a lot more content like that. But Matt, I know you had a chance after he was selected to hop on part of his conference call with the local media. Matt, just what stood out to you about the conference call or the Zoom call with L'Jarius Sneed?
Well, when you're thinking about a young guy coming in and getting better at the defensive back position, he was asked, how is facing Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP, going to help you out with that? And he was pretty enthusiastic about how Pat Mahomes is going to help him on defense. Here's that clip.
It's going to help me a lot, First, it starts in the film room. Study guys. That's where it all starts at first, then translate to the field. A guy like Pat Mahomes, that's a different type of quarterback, man. He'll look this way, but he'll throw the ball to someone else. That's very different. And now in these days, but just study film. Practice make better. And it's a blessing to have a quarterback like that, you know.
All right, good stuff right there as we transition and talk about the Chiefs' final draft pick of the day, unless they trade up, although we don't expect that necessarily to happen today. And guys, before we talk about Michigan edge rusher Mike Danna, can I just get a show of hands on how many of you would have understood or thought it would be true if we finished this draft and Brett Veach did not trade up or down? If you would have said they did not trade, raise your hand if you would have been surprised that he didn't do that.
Wait a minute, I've got smelling salts.
Sean, you didn't think he was going to trade at all? You are lying.
No
You're
surprise. No surprise.
I'm shocked.
No surprise here. I mean, with the lack of the intel, the lack of getting the physicals, getting guys at the pro days and stuff, it's one of those things where I think you just trust your big boy, you trust the system, trying to move up and down to gather some extra picks and grab a guy. I mean, I think this is one of those times just sitting pat does your organization the best. I think by us not moving, the Chiefs are setting themselves in a position to go ahead and run it back.
I think the rest of his staff have just gotten comfortable enough to tell him, like, you can't do that. His first year, I think he traded for every single pick. And the last year, it was just the first one, I believe. McCole Hardman, he trades up to get him. But let's talk a little Mike Danna. He's listed as playing at Michigan last year. He was a grad transfer. He spent the first 4 years at Central Michigan. And in 2018, guys, 66 tackles on 12 starts, but 15 tackles for loss and 9.5 sacks in 2018. And then he goes to Michigan last year and just started one game, 38 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. But this is one of those tweener guys. I'm curious to see where they're going to list him at a position. He's basically 6'2", about 258 pounds, and he's listed as an edge rusher. But that is the exact same size that Reggie Ragland was. So I'm curious if this may be like a Rush Sam, kind of one of those, not sub-package guys, but see what kind of role he fits. I think the Rush Sam may fit, but was an edge rusher in college.
BJ, here's this from
National Dairy Farmers have their national headquarters in Kansas City. They're going to love him because he was drinking like a half gallon of milk a day when he was in high school. He broke his leg and he wanted to get his calcium up. This is an interesting kid. You know, we can lose a guy when he makes a position move. We can also kind of lose track of a guy when he transfers. And he was a grad transfer from Central Michigan to Michigan. But Pro Football Focus had his pass rush grade. You were talking about his Central Michigan stats. In 18, it was 91. It was over 90%. But I'm with you here because he seems the other thing I was going to mention too is losing Emmanuel Ogbah in free agency. We talked about this position, but when you look at his size at 6'2", 251, it's not out of the realm of possibility he could be in a 2-point stance and be in that Reggie Ragland spot.
And Mitch, I'll also add that, yeah, he had that quiet season last year for Michigan after he had that huge season at Central Michigan. But this is from Dane Brugler's draft guide. Quiet grad transfer season, but he has the talent that could be unleashed in the right situation. I love the word unleashed there. Pretty exciting to see what Steve Spagnuolo and this defensive coaching staff can do with this kid.
Man, and as an NFL alumni, I always think about what's the pro comp. And what automatically jumps in my mind is O.C. Umenyiora. What he did with Spags' defense at the Giants, that same body type, that same technique, being able to unleash him on the edge, especially when you're trying to protect the lead. Our offense is potent. We're going to be up in games. We got to have some guys that can come in the fourth quarter, right before half, and just close shut the door, drop the hammer down, as Mitch would say.
We have the same graphic that we showed earlier from Pro Football Focus. We've got that for Michael Danna as well. 245 snaps played outside of the tackle, and then in the B gap, as far as that rush Sam spot, 82 snaps, and then 13 snaps lined up in the A gap. Obviously, probably assuming that those are third and long type situations in those NASCAR packages to get after the quarterback. But definitely one of those guys. You take a flyer on a guy that had big time production. Curious to hear from the area scouts on what they saw from him. And obviously another one of those guys, when you get into that 6'2", 6'3", 250-pound guys who can run and make plays, you got to know that Dave Tobe had to have been a part of this discussion at some point. So that's something definitely we've got to figure out. But now that they put a bow on the 5 picks, guys, just get quick thoughts from each of you just on the overall draft, on what the Chiefs were able to do. Matt, let's start with you.
Well, I'll just say that for the skill position guys that the Chiefs got here, I just really enjoy that this class has guys that made plays. You have guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, best pass-catching running back in the country. Then, of course, this cornerback we just picked up, all those pick sixes that we were talking about. Just excited that guys were not just great athletes. They're ones that got their hands on the ball and made plays and scored touchdowns.
If I had to sum up, like you said, the running back position, I think we got the best running back in the draft. At the linebacker position, people might think it was the local guy Simmons, but I think Willie Gay Jr. is the best instinctive off-the-ball linebacker in the draft, and that's not even barring Patrick Queen. He's a little undersized. You talk about Murray. He's not awesome against the pass. And then you talk about the guy Brooks from Texas Tech. He plays in space well, but has struggled against the run. So when you talk about an all-around athlete playing that linebacker position, I think Willie Gay Jr. was a home run for us. And besides that, the offensive lineman we got, anything to protect Pat, that's a bonus for me.
Mitch?
Well, there's not a lot of quantity in this class, but I think there's a lot of quality. When you look, the Chiefs on their current roster have 10 of the last 12 draft picks on their roster. But in 17, 3 are left. 16, 3 are left. 17, 2 are left. 15, 0 left. The point is, this group, to me, gives them immediate help. I think Willie Gay Jr., we said he could be DJ. This might be your next DJ. Edwards-Helaire could be your next Darren Sproles. We've said that. And I think these last three all have the ability to contribute too. But I also look at these 5 guys as being long-haul guys. I'll be surprised if we're not sitting on this 3 to 4 years from now and looking at all these guys being long-term contributors for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think the other thing that jumps out, guys, and you've all kind of touched on, is just athletes, that these guys are all phenomenal athletes. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, with his lateral agility, his ability to move. Willie Gay Jr., Sean, like you mentioned, 99th percentile in his 10-yard splits, and all the different athletic testing that these guys do, the athletic matrix, the spark scores, whatever you want to call them. These guys are at the top of all of those lists. And so is the defensive back, L'Jarius Sneed, they just picked up, was also a 99th percentile guy in broad jump and 10-yard splits and all that stuff. So these are definitely guys, when you have teachers and guys that can teach the technique and get the most out of them, when you get to these day 3 picks and you start taking some chances, you start with the athlete and guys who love football and then hope that it works out with the rest of them. But I definitely thought it was an interesting draft overall. They were able to, despite all of us talking about it, all of our podcasts leading up to here, about you don't necessarily have to get guys who could fit in and contribute right away. And they still found ways to get guys who fit for the future and some guys who fit into the mix as far as making impacts right away, particularly with those first couple of picks. It'll be interesting to see also with Lucas Niang. You guys talk about his ability to play tackle. Brett Veach has alluded to he could play guard. So that's one of those things we watch throughout the offseason whenever they get back to practicing and they're together, how they all fit together. But let's take one last look at the Chiefs 2020 draft. Again, we don't expect there to be any trade-ups, but here are the 5 picks for the Kansas City Chiefs, starting with Clyde Edwards-Helaire right there, the running back out of LSU. And before we let everybody go, just another reminder and a special thanks to everybody at Park University. In just a few weeks, we've changed how we work and how we play. Maybe now's a good time to change the way you go to college with online classes at Park University. Park has been at the forefront of online education for 25 years. We meet with our students where they are, and summer terms begin June 8th. Apply now, and they'll waive the application fee with code PARK2020. Learn more at park.edu. Park University is the higher education partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Guys, before we let everybody go, everybody take about 10 or 15 seconds and share some words of wisdom. Barbershop, let's start with you.
Hey, you just said the partner is Park University. The athletic director, Claude English, is a close friend of mine. So we'll be talking about these draft picks all throughout the season. I look forward to it. Great partner with Park University.
Mitch?
Well, we talk about Veach not being able to trade up or trade down, or if he wanted to, and these 5 picks are quality picks in my opinion. But honestly, there wasn't a lot of way to move up or down in this draft in the way it's set up. And I don't think he was going to sacrifice 2021 or 2022. Again, like this draft class, the strategy was, yes, run it back, but don't sacrifice the future.
And Mitch, to build off that a bit, I think the Chiefs came into this draft without any glaring holes or needs, certainly areas that could get better, but nothing really jumped out at you, just won the Super Bowl. So they could come into it and take what they thought were the best players available, and I think they did that. I think they got their guys, and the Chiefs are a better team now than they were 4 days ago.
Good stuff, guys. And Mitch, as you talk about not sacrificing picks for the future, they've got 2 more days. I believe the deadline is April 27th. If they don't sign any more qualifying free agents, that they're in line to get a couple of comp picks next year, maybe a 5th and a 3rd because of the guys they lost in free agency, one of being Emmanuel Ogbah you mentioned earlier. Good stuff from the Chiefs, and we will continue to break down all of these picks and basically put a bow on this entire draft with Chiefs General Manager Brett Veach tomorrow. We will have our entire recap show. The 4 of us will be here, and we will be joined, as I mentioned, by Brett Veach, and also Chiefs super fan Eric Stonestreet is going to join us. If you didn't catch him the other day, he was the one up in the corner with the Give Randy a Ring with his obviously spoof video and his other personality of Randy Reed. So that should be a whole lot of fun. Again, that's tomorrow at 1 o'clock on the Chiefs YouTube. We appreciate everybody for tuning in and following along with us today. We will see you tomorrow. Everybody have a safe and great afternoon.